But we continue. Businesses are golden geese, and every business is a golden goose that lays eggs every week in the form of paychecks and benefits. And if you just kill all the golden geese, pretty soon we've got a pretty bad situation. And I think if you really look back at businesses are really we're the engine that drives the dollars. I mean, we make paychecks, we make payroll, we pay vendors, and we have a lot of vendors that we use in our business, and they use us. And I mean, it's a big cycle. But then we also flow a lot of money to the, whether it's local, state, or federal government. And our employees every week that have deductions taken from their paychecks, state, federal, local taxes, and Social Security, they're paying into a system that is basically, the same system that I'm paying into, and it's a bankrupt system. So I think we have to look. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Something that really puzzles me is when I see a road project done in the state of Pennsylvania. You got to understand, I'm not in the construction business, but I have friends that are. If you see a bridge that's being replaced, and the construction company that bids that that bridge replacement job has to deal with something called prevailing wage. And let's say that the construction company has a dump truck driver who, on a private enterprise job makes $20 an hour. And when that bridge job the contract is let out to the contractor, the dump truck driver might make $42 an hour. I mean, it's just not 50 cents or $1 more per hour, but it's a large differential. Well, if we didn't, why are we paying prevailing wage? And I guess I know enough to be dangerous, but it would seem to me that if you're paying 40 to 50% more for wages for projects that have state and federal dollars, what if we paid private enterprise wages on these jobs? What if we were able to fix 30 more bridges in the state of Pennsylvania? And if we have 30 more bridge jobs going on next year or this year because our prevailing wage structure is different, well, that means more people back to work. That means more concrete sold, and it means improvement of many things. But I think there's a very touchy arena that you want to be careful that you walk into, and that's the union issue. And I think there was a time and place for unions at one time, and the unions, when people are represented by unions, they get they pay dues to the union, and that's a whole nother enterprise. But I think why should private enterprise jobs have certain wages and certain costs, but then when you go to something that has federal, state dollars attached, that we pay 40 to 50% more for wages, and maybe we may pay more for engineering fees and so forth. But I think that if we want to put people back to work, we've got to stimulate the economy. Another big area, and I want to catch on this area pretty quickly, but my company is experiencing a tough time hiring employees right now, hiring qualified people. And there's one big issue that we're facing right now, and it's an epidemic across America. If we have 100 people that walk in to our company and put in applications this month, and actually we take in roughly 100 applicants or 100 applications in a 2-week period. Last year we saw over 2,000 applications. Someone walks in, and let's say there's 100 that walk in. If we were to drug test those 100 people on the spot, I would guarantee that probably at least 50% would fail.
Wow.
So that's an epidemic, and we're talking.
That's remarkable.
It is, and it could be as high as 60%. I've seen statistics or read articles that around the border states, Texas, Louisiana, you might have it as high as 70–75%. So that's an epidemic in itself. So if I have 100 people walk in to our company in a period of 2 weeks, and we were to drug test everyone, and then we reduced it from 100 down to 50, and then you go through the 50 applications you have that are left over, and you look at qualifications, you look at work history, and so forth, and you go through the interview process. At the end of the day, you might end up with 3 to 5 people that might be qualified. Well, what we're experiencing right now is we're making offers for these positions, and we're hearing from workers, and we're hearing it as of yesterday. I really don't have to go to work. Right now I'm going to keep looking because my unemployment benefits just got extended. Well, the federal government, on April 15th, voted to extend unemployment benefits to 99 weeks. Well, last time I checked, there were 52 weeks in a year, and 99 is pretty close to 2 years. So there's no motivation for some of these people to get back to work. And I don't think it's fair for, if we're at a 10% unemployment rate, what about the other 90% of the population that is working? And if you were to tackle maybe some prevailing wage issues and some of these other issues, who knows? We might be able to employ another, 80,000 people across the state of Pennsylvania. It could bring our unemployment rate down to 7.6 from 10. So I think there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things that could be done, but also I think we don't operate. Government does not operate on a sense of urgency. It's we'll study it, we'll review it. Maybe we'll come back next year, and before you know it, it's 4 years has passed, 6 years, and nothing gets done. So, in business, when times are tough, we sort of put the red light on the top of our vehicle, and we operate on a code red sense of urgency. That doesn't happen in government.
Well, I want to make sure we cover this one burning issue, and that is that the perception is that you as a businessman are making a lot of profits and going on big vacations and buying boats and all those fancy things, and that the average person is not benefiting from your company, that you are benefiting from your company.
That's a great point. That's a great. Yeah, I would.
How much profit do you actually make?
Well, we're gonna. I think you're gonna show your viewers a chart, but really, and I have the chart in front of me, which I'll share with both of you. But if we make, if we have $1 in revenue, and I think here's the dollar, and we talk about revenue. Revenue is really that's the front dollar that comes in the door. And for example, in my business, we have disposal costs. We have labor and benefits that we pay. I mean, weekly payroll, health insurance, and different benefits. We have truck costs. We have fuel maintenance. Paying our wages for our mechanics in the shop, so forth, insurance, and G&A expense. And then we out of this dollar, typically you will be left with about 5 cents. If you're lucky, 5 cents before tax, and after tax, you're left with about 2.5 cents. So I will tell you that most of my friends that are in business, and I have know a lot of people, most people are on blood pressure medication these days, and they're high cholesterol. There's a lot of stress. There's a tremendous amount of stress among business people right now. The banking crisis is big. The world competition is just off the charts. There's a lot happening. So I think that dollar that we talked about, this is revenue in the door, and you have to pay all your expenses out of that. If you're lucky, you're left with about 2.5 cents after tax.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for sharing with us some of the challenges that business face in Pennsylvania that we have to constantly ask state government to take a look at and do a better job so we can have a more robust economy in Pennsylvania. We hope you'll join us again in the not too distant future, Scott. We'll be back again next week with a new edition of Behind the Headlines. We'll see you then.